Welcome to the Sheraman law classes. Friends, we are going to start our lecture. And today, my lecture is related with the criminal law. In this lecture, I shall discuss with you what is a crime and what are the various elements of crime. So, crime is basically an illegal act or omission against any other individual or society. Similarly, an act which is prohibited by the law of the state or authority, that illegal act when is committed, we may say that a crime is done. To constitute a criminal act, there are various elements are required. In the prosecution must prove all that elements beyond any shadow of doubt before the judge in the court. There are basically 5 elements are involved for any criminal act. That is mens motive, preparation, ictus, finally the attempt or commission. All these 5 elements are must for the offense. In some countries, the prosecution shall also prove causation and concurrence along with these 5 elements of crime. Sometimes only a single element is also sufficient to constitute a crime. For example, attempt. The attempt to commit suicide is also a crime. Both in Pakistan, in India, an attempt to commit suicide is a crime. In Pakistan, Section 325 PPC awards 1 year punishment to the person who makes an attempt to commit suicide. Similarly, mens is also sufficient to constitute a crime in some offenses. For example, the offense of sedition, the offense of conspiracy, and the offense of waging war against the state. In all these 3 offenses, only the element of mens rea is sufficient to constitute the offense. For example, 2 individuals make conversation telephonically and they are talking about to wage a war against a state. This telephonic conversation between the 2 individuals is what that is a crime, and it shows only the intention of mind of that 2 individual, but still it is termed as a crime. Crime varies from country to country, from society to society. For example, homosexuality is a crime both in Saudi Arabia as well as in Pakistan, but it is not a crime in the UK, United States of America, as well as in Canada. Similarly, an offense is a crime in one country for some class of people or religion, but it is not a crime for the other class of people or religion. For example, drinking is prohibited by the laws of Pakistan through Hudud Ordinance 1979, and drinking is prohibited for the Muslims of Pakistan, but it is not prohibited for the Christians living in Pakistan. A Christian may use alcohol in his house or in his place of worship, but not in the public place. As I talked earlier, that whenever any criminal act is committed, the prosecution must prove all the elements of a crime. For this purpose, I shall give you an example, so you people will better understand my point of view. Suppose there is Mr. A and Mr. B, and both Mr. A and Mr. B enters into an agreement for a joint venture of a business. And when they got progress in their business, a thought came in the mind of Mr. A, and he started to kill Mr. B in order to gain the entire business on his own name. For this purpose, he started to make preparation, and he goes to the guns market, and from there he buys guns and ammunition. Later on, when he got an opportunity, he goes to the office of Mr. B, where he makes fire on Mr. B, and thereby causing the death of Mr. B. What did by Mr. A? He committed a crime. In this example, we see that all the elements of a crime are completed. Now, I will explain how the elements were there in the crime. First, I shall talk about the Nazriya. When the thought came in the mind of Mr. A to kill Mr. B, this was actually a Nazriya. The mental status of Mr. A, the conscious status of Mr. A when he started bad thinking to kill Mr. B. This condition of mind is known as Nazriya. And when he went to the guns market and from there bought gun and ammunition, this was a preparation, the other element of a criminal act. A motive is also there in the 5 elements of crime, and the motive is what? When a person keeps some desire or wish to gain some purpose, maybe to gain some property or to gain some reputation. In our example, the motive of Mr. A was to gain the entire business. The other element involved in the example which I mentioned to you people, that is ictus. Ictus is basically interlinked and co-related with the mensrea. Ictus is the outcome of mind, what thought during a person in his speculation, and the bad thoughts which comes in his mind. So ictus is the part and parcel of mensrea, and both are correlated. Ictus is actually the actual act which performed by a person. In our example, when Mr. A makes a fire on Mr. B, this is actually the action, and that is called the ictus. The final important element of a crime is attempt or commission of a crime. When the action is completed, when Mr. B was died, in our example, the action was completed, and ultimately the purpose for which Mr. B had made a plan has completed. So we may say that all the 5 elements regarding crimes are interlinked, and this is the duty of the prosecution to prove all the 5 elements beyond any reasonable doubt before the court. Similarly, the defense counsel shall try to negate the elements involved in the commission of a crime. A crime is not restricted, it is a very vast term, and it may varies. In crime, a person may take action against only one individual, or he may take action against the whole society, a caste, a religion, or the whole state. For committing a crime, this is important that voluntarily intention is must. My action in which my intention is not involved is not a crime. Similarly, a crime committed by a child below the age of 7 years is also not a crime. Similarly, a crime committed by the insane person or lunatic person is also a good defense. So with this, I conclude my lecture. In next lecture, I will discuss the autopsy or postmortem report. Thank you.